Yo, what is up? I forgot to collect this stupid achievement. And, yeah, I mean, not that I'm going to end up using any of this stuff, but, I need to, I guess, finish up with Siegfried and Ascalon. I just really haven't made them a priority because the reality is that I still haven't gotten a really good set of DPS gear yet from Galgoria. So, needless to say, I wanted to do a video about the best way to craft and, farm the new TMG gear from Galgoria, Ascalon, and Siegfried. My recommendation to everybody is to get yourself a DPS set from Galgoria first. First and foremost, go for the Galgoria gear set. And as far as your methodology is concerned, here is what I'm going to share with everyone in regards to the new TMG raids. Basically, Stage 1 appears to have the highest drop rate. However, you cannot get reclaimed gear from Stage 1, and you also get less tokens. So if you've watched my other videos on that, I think it all pretty much comes out in a wash at this point. But here's the nice thing about doing Stage 1 is that it's faster, and you have a lot more flexibility as far as what you can do in the game while your Stage 1 raids are dispatched, if you decide to dispatch. Which I've kind of changed my tone on that whole thing a bit, because in the beginning I kept on saying don't dispatch, don't dispatch, don't dispatch. Listen, especially if you're able to dispatch stage like 3 or 4 and higher, it really actually kind of doesn't even make sense to just farm 3, 4, 5 and above, on auto, unless you're sleeping at night. Even then I'm questioning it, because on the off chance that it doesn't proc right with the dispatch, and you end up losing some battles, that's valuable stamina that you've of course lost at that point. So what I've been doing, I'm going to show you what I've been doing. What I've been doing is I have been dispatching Stage 5. And I have a 100% win rate doing that. I can dispatch Stage 6, but it's like a 50-50 win rate. So the bottom line is I've just been doing 5, and it's sad because you can't really get any good reclaimed gears, it seems, this way. The place to get the reclaimed gears is crafting the pieces in Valence's workshop. But let me just show you my gears that I'm using, and this is going to apply in World Boss as well as Velk, for Guild Conquest or LAC or any of those. If you're playing in the support role, this is going to apply even in PvP in some instances, depending on your gear pieces. So let's go with Adi first. So Adi is wearing a partial set. So he's not slinging the full 13% from his DL gear, which is fine, because this piece is slinging 10%, and this piece is slinging, well, let me move my face, and this piece is slinging 5% attack, okay? Now, I tried re-rolling this lifesteal line. I'll tell you, I have had the damnedest time getting that lifesteal line off of there, but it's not that big of a deal, okay? Because at the end of the day, he's got all the M tough runes on. He's not dying, and I don't need him doing DPS duty. So him slinging the 5% attack and the 10% crit and the additional 5% from this 2-set option is fine for me. Okay, it's still 2% more crit than he would have as a full set plus 5 attack. So that's an example of where Adi or any other support doesn't need to necessarily run a full set of this. Now, if I had had a full set where I was able to see, like, that's not slinging anything to the allies, none of this stuff is right now. And I would even break up a set. I wouldn't even necessarily try to make a set of perseverance gears, because I don't really care about the fact that he's dealing additional damage. Not yet. I mean, eventually that's going to be something that I would want to pursue, but as it is now, I don't really care. So that's Audie. Talisha, she's just on straight up Bach gear. Okay, she's wrecking in Bach gear. This perk right here allows her to run Book of the Mad. She's her own mana battery, so that works fine. And she's getting the other 150 crit. She's closing that 90 gap with Fallen Fray. Okay, because this perk doesn't give her crit. I could give her crit with this, but I would rather have the crit attack here, and then her amping her own attack 50%. And then this UT here gives her 51 stacks, and then of course in at 5 stars, it's 55. So, and that's stacks of this right here, which is 6170. Now, something to point out is I believe I had earrings that amped that skill 7, skill 4 plus 7. I think it was earrings. I messed with it. Oh, it was the 3rd skill plus 7. Okay, yeah. So I don't have a 4th skill plus 7. Okay. I mean, maybe I do, but not on anything that... Oh, there it is. But it's not on... It's on a PDEF bracer. But it doesn't matter. I can show you this just so you understand something. So 6706 with it on, unequip, skills 6170, excuse me. So let me just do some quick math here. 6170 times, we're just going to go off 55. So that's 339,350 attack that she's going to get without it on. And then if I put it on her, what was it again? 6706. It's 368,000 attack. So you see where it's just really insignificant gains when you can put a piece on her that just gives her 50% attack. You see what I'm saying? Or increases her crit chance and allows her to crit 100% of the time. Something like that. So these skill plus bonuses, I did the same thing with DK, and it's dumb. I mean, actually, DK's doesn't even move. You don't get more attack stacks there on DK. So you see where I'm going with this. These plus skill options, I've been grinding them at this point because I've not found a single scenario in which it actually is advantageous for me to run a plus skill option. Anyway, but that's Talisha. So she's not using any gear. And I did have some gears on Mora that are now on Glenn, and I'll explain that in a moment. But Glenn has a full set on, and I can go over Glenn here in a bit. But Mora, I took it all off because I wanted the heal reduction stacks to get on as quickly as possible, so I put on those M block things. I did have her on Juno Special Dessert, but I took that off because in stage 6, even in 5 occasionally, the shield can break. F-Fray's shield can break. So this is going to F-Fray. And I want to explain to you why F-Fray is getting the highest attack. So I had her actually at about 1.8 million attack. I went ahead and scaled her down a bit and re-rolled some of her attack lines off to crit here, which you might think is crazy. Here's the problem. If I didn't take those attack lines off of her UTs, I was just going to end up doing it with gear anyway. And with the new gear being what it is, and capable of scaling attack up so much, just even a set of earrings alone, I was constantly having to lower F-Fray's attack so that my DPS was snagging all of the buffs. Okay, but this is an actual scenario where you want her to have as much attack as possible. However, I also want her critting. So I still have her shield just strong enough where it will not break, and a 4-star UT is just enough where the duration is fine, even if you know it's on the verge of breaking, the duration's long enough in conjunction with Audi and just RNG cooldown that I'm getting from him from his T5 Dark, plus of course his S3, and of course his A2 Soul Weapon, where her cooldown is always capable of keeping that shield up. So I scaled her down to 1.5, not specifically for Galgoria, but really just for all content because she had too much attack as it was anyway. But she's critting 100% of the time. So she's at 780, she's getting 100 right here, so she puts her at 880, and she's given another 150. So she's critting 100% of the time. She actually ends up doing a lot of DPS, which you're going to see here when I do some of these battles. Actually, so much DPS, in fact, that prior to me building up Talisha, she was actually getting the lockdown. So I actually had to take her from critting off, because you never want this chick on lockdown. But she's an amazing sub DPS. I mean, I use her to clear TOS 8, for God's sake. I mean, Trial of Flow 8. I can use her and an all priest comp. It's her, Ray, Juno, and Lav, and beat Trial of Flow 8 with Fallen Frey or Juno. Pick your poison. It don't matter. Just put the same set of Bach gear on either of those ladies, and you can beat the highest levels of Trial of Flow. That's how good her DPS is. So the bottom line is I had to scale her attack down a bit. So she's not currently wearing any of that gear. So now if we go over to Lorianne, she's actually... Oh, I accidentally took a piece off of her. What was she on? I don't need her critting. What the heck happened? I don't know what happened here. I'm sorry about this. Okay, make sure she has plenty of mana. Okay, so... Oh, she needs some attack speed. My goodness. What the heck? Whoops. Where the hell is my attack speed at? Huh, I guess I had it on her. Oh, that's the one I want on her. Okay, and then I'll go and... I have to do this because you're going to understand what I'm doing here. I'm actually setting up two teams. Okay? So, you know what? She's at... I don't know, that hat's actually kind of tempting to give her some more penetration and more attack speed. Let's do that. She's already got plenty of attack. So, and she didn't have any pen. All right, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and do that for Juno. But going back to Lorianne here, and let me go ahead and save this while I'm thinking about it. Okay, there we go. So, she's giving 5% attack here, and this is giving 5% attack, okay? Plus 5% crit. So that's my Lorianne build. And notice that she's on a Heart of the Abyss. The reason for the Heart of the Abyss is because of the attack reduction, not because of the attack that it's slinging over to F-Ray. But that's great. I mean, that's fine. The battle's usually over in less than 100 seconds anyway, so this 15% attack reduction is huge. Perks-wise, I'm doing a further 25% attack reduction here. This is an incredible, survivability technique. Plus, I'm increasing the amount of CC that's inflicted upon him substantially. Now, once I get this soul weapon up to A2, holy moly, take a look at this. Increases the duration of CC effects applied by all enemies by 30%. So that's a 60% increase in CC effects, CC-related effects, which is, wow. Plus some MDEF shred. So, needless to say, this is going to be an awesome soul weapon when it's A2. Just that CC knockback is going to be insane. So Lorianne is definitely meta here. You don't need her A2 to do it, but it's definitely going to enable you to do higher stages for certain. This is the UT to run, okay? Just because of the MDAM amplification. This isn't a bad one, only because it allows a big, huge CC move to go onto a cooldown. But it's definitely not the one I want to use at this point, since she's not the primary DPS. I would maybe reconsider using this one, since it's not really whaled in the least. But I'm just now starting to work on Lorianne, and she's doing a lot of great stuff here. So between Audie and Lorianne, they're the only ones really wearing TMG pieces at this point. Laudia here, she's, you know, a DPS. The goal is to get you really want 3 DPSs for stage 5 and 6, because you want to give the other DPSs plenty of time to ramp up. And if you have only 2 DPSs, you can beat it, but you're going to be slowing the amping of one of those 2 DPSs on a regular basis. So it kind of depends on your DPSs, but this is a pretty meta comp here. Okay, DK is probably the only thing I would prefer to take out of it, although you'll see when I do my runs, he actually does destroy, and he's not even on any kind of, you know, I purposefully actually had to take him off of Book of the Mad, because he was ending up in lockdown almost permanently, and he's physical. So that's just how good he is in conjunction with Fallen Frey. It's insane, even though he's a physical guy. Plus, there is a 20% physical damage bonus on Galgoria. So you're actually getting 20% more damage from a physical DPS than you are a magical DPS on Galgoria. I think the developers did that because magic teams here, specifically with Talisha and Mora and Lorianne and Audie all kind of being shoo-ins for those various roles, make the magic teams at a massive advantage. So they were like, to kind of help offset that a bit, we'll do physical damage amplification, which is another reason why I think DK is destroying. So that all said, that's why you see their gears built the way that they are, okay? And she is on that because she was having trouble staying alive because her UT is low. Once I get her to 5-star, I'll probably take her off of this. And then, yeah, you've seen the rest of the team. Now, just to kind of reiterate what I was saying again with Galgoria farming, is that you want Fallen Frey to be high attack. You don't need an A2 Audie, although if you do have an A2 Audie, that's incredible, but if you don't, that's fine. The main thing is you want Audie's soul weapon to go to Frey, so that way she can run a BOE and she can have a shield strong enough to not break. Okay, that's really the key. What I do is I go and I'll actually show you a run with this team. I think you've seen one in. I'm not going to do a run 6. It'll take too long, because I have to more or less manual it, really, to have decent win rates. And even then, it's not 100%. The dispatching actually seems has a higher win rate than manualing it, to be frank. So I open up with all my big stuns on everyone here, just to get that CC bar down as quickly as possible. The faster you can get the CC bar down, the less likely you are to take on poison. With Fallen Frey, I actually almost recommend manualing her if you're just trying to get the achievement. Get the 2 stacks that you see there, then use her S3, because then each hit is a half-second stun, okay? Open up with your DPS movements and your soul weapons and all that stuff on his knockdown phase. Try to get as much knockdown as possible. Talisha brings a huge stun with this. Huge stun, okay? Dealing a total, inflicting a stun on the target for 1 second each hit. So that's 9-second stun. It's massive. This is going a little slower than I'd like, but that's fine. I mean, I really, run this in auto, or dispatch it typically. And you can see DK is just flying. Now, Talisha is going to start going up here real quick. And once she starts going up, then she'll start getting the lockdown here towards the end. So, but this is the stage I'm going to recommend everyone be farming, because at the end of the day, you do need your DPS to have a full set. So I'm going to imagine once I finally get a good DPS set on Laudia, DK, Talisha, that is going to outperform my Bach gear, that I'll be able to very easily dispatch 6 with no problems. So this is definitely taking longer than it normally does, even just running on auto. So I'm not quite sure. Probably just bad RNG. No streamer's luck here, unfortunately. So that's fine. Let me stun him down with Talisha, and there we go. Just massive stun from her. If you watched my World Boss stream last night, you probably saw that I tried using Talisha as a... You look at the DPS right there. Tried using Talisha as a support in Mountain, and it just didn't work. It just did not work. I think if I max her out, maybe it would be just as good. Drats. But it just didn't work out. So let me show you what I've been doing. So basically, since dispatching 5 and 6 takes quite a while, even with that comp, what I've been doing is I've been doing a mild dispatch on 5. And what I mean by mild dispatch is I'll do like a dispatch of maybe 10, just so that way I always have something that gives me an opportunity to potentially get a piece of reclaimed gear. Because really at this point, with as good as this gear is, it literally only takes one amazing piece of reclaimed gear to make a massive difference in your scores with the DPS. So I want to keep my opportunity to potentially get that outside of doing crafting over in Valence's workshop always there. So this is what I've been doing. I have been doing dispatches on 5 with the team you just saw, and then I have been autoing and just farming throughout the day stage 1 where applicable. So I'll do that like so, and just let that run, and it's usually about a 20-minute window, and then I will go and then I'll just go and I'll do this team here. Oh, I like putting all my ladies with the wings on the front there. There we go. And then this is my team. And I actually get most of my gear through this. This is where I get most of my gear. So literally, if I just did apples to apples, the same amount of stamina, and just let this run, I will usually have about 5 to 6% more gear from the 1400 stamina that I use to go and dispatch stage 5, which is 10 runs. I might get one piece. Might. This 1400 stamina, which is 14 runs, I will always get at least one piece, sometimes 2. I've not had it where I don't get at least one piece from 14 runs. So, and it takes less time. And if I want, I can take this team and go and switch out to my League of Honor gears, or switch out to my League of Victory gears, my World Boss gears, it don't matter, and I can dispatch stage 1 with this team in their PvP gears, okay, which is also really convenient. So as you can see, the clears are fast. They're not as fast with my other team, My absolute fastest team, if I don't want to do stage 5 at all, is about a 10-second clear. I think the fastest it ever did was about a 9-second clear. If you all want to see that. And this is worth not doing dispatch on because you're only getting 3 extra boss crystals per run. It doesn't matter what stage you're doing. So that's only a 10% bonus on stage 1, which is, you're throwing away, the boss crystal bonus if you do it that way. On stage 5, it's not as worth it. But, oh, you know what? I've got dispatch in progress, so I can't even show it to you. Drats. It's just basically all my DPSs. That's all it is. It's CC, DK, every single DPS I have, and Fallen Fray. So it's DK, and Juno, because she's actually an incredible DPS. So it's DK, Juno, Fallen Fray, Laudia, Talisha, Cecilia, yeah. It's just, and Pansy. Of course, Pansy. And it's just insanely fast. And then you just basically open up with all the big nukes and boom, done. It's hilarious. But I can't do that at the moment. So as you can see, it's 20 minutes to do that. So now let's talk about worth crafting, worth saving up, worth doing, custom pieces or whatever in Balance's workshop. Here's what I'm going to say. I've gotten more reclaimed gear from doing the 1000 reforge rolls than I have from doing stage 5 and 6 every time. I don't have enough to go and craft one now. Every time I've been getting more reclaimed pieces through crafting than I have just grinding 5 and 6. So that all being the case, I'm going to go ahead and recommend, if you're going to craft one, don't craft a piece unless you have a really good set and you need a specific piece to complete that set. Okay? Then in that case, it may be worthwhile. Otherwise, I would say just craft random pieces for the 1000 frags and take your shot at getting reclaimed gear, because I've gotten some really good pieces that way. For supports, not for DPSs, unfortunately. But this isn't supposed to be something that you're going to just finish up in a week. Their expectation wasn't for you to go run TMG for a week or two and then have a full set of DPS gear and just intermittently do the content. Their intention was for this to be content that you play and refine your game style play in, work as a team with your guildies and other friends within the game to play for a very long time and to perfect and refine and just get all these new little pieces here and there. I think that that's a good thing. I do think that they need to improve the drop rates regardless, or improve the amount of fragments that we're getting, just so that way we're able to get stuff more quickly, because even at the current rates, with their intention of it being something we play for a while, we're talking a couple of years to get all your teams completely outfitted in a perfect set of this stuff. And that's doing like modest, hold on a second here. Let's see if he actually wants me. Party is full. Yeah, so he's just doing a guild invite. So anyway, that's doing a modest stam burn. And when I say modest, I mean you're just basically doing the subscriptions for the stamina, and using all the stamina from that every day on this. Yeah, you can whale your stam burn and probably get full sets on all your teams perfect, unless you're really super lucky, in maybe a year. But that's a really long time to have to wait for everything. So all that said, I would suggest that they increase the drop rate or the crystal amounts that we get. And they've already done that once, which is good. But I'd like to see them do more, because this is a pay-to-play scenario right now, and I don't want to wait as long as, you know, this is going to end up making me wait just to get this gear. So the other thing I'm going to recommend is, if you are dispatching, try to keep your stamina always recharging. I don't know if you noticed up there in that corner, it just hit me that my stamina was not recharging. But with as precious as stamina is now, you should be trying to keep your stamina constantly in a recharge state, unless you're doing raids real time. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Now, I had asked you guys yesterday if you were interested in what you all were interested in because of the challenge that's going on. And a couple of you were asking me, is it worth running one piece of TMG gear and breaking up a set bonus? On a support, yes. In TD gear, depending on what's being slung, 100% it is absolutely worth breaking up the set bonus. I showed that to you guys in the beginning of the video. So then the next question immediately following that is, if I do that, should I reforge the lines? I'm going to say no. Don't reforge lines. I don't care what the lines are. You could be going up against a physical boss and have 2 lines of M dodge, and I would still say not to reforge them. As long as the character is able to survive and the bonus is good enough, then leave the lines as they are and don't spend reforge tickets on... Hold on, let me see. Okay, so all that being said, they need to stop doing fucking invites to the entire guild and take the time to fucking scroll down and pick a shit. Sorry, I gotta... So all that being said, it is worth it. Now, in the case of Fallen Fray, I would definitely not want to break up her attack with a piece of gear. So that all being the case, you have to be very very careful about how you're going to use the bot gear. But in somebody like Audie's case, or May's case, or Ray Hartnell's case, where they're there for their buffs that they're providing to the team and not there for healing per se, or anything that their attack or DPS role of any kind, then just go ahead and keep the attack lines from your DL gear, unless you get a really amazing piece of attack gear through TMG, in which case it would be worth breaking it up. Like, let's say you get a set of earrings that has 2 lines of attack and then increases attack by, 50%, reduces defense by 20% or something like that. Then yes, just put that one set of attack on there and break up the DL set. That would be one circumstance where I'd recommend it. And I'd even say, if you got like 1 line of attack on those rings and, another line is like P crit resistance or something, then reforge that line, because there is going to be more attack, which means your shields are going to be even stronger. So that's a way to buff your Fray, your Fallen Fray, or whoever your primary healer is. So all that being the case, just keep that in mind with where you're using the gear. Let me think here. There was another question. I'm going to go to the video here. All right. I kind of already addressed this. They said, should I be doing Siegfried, Ascalon, or Galgoria first? Okay, so the answer is Galgoria. You want to get the gear on your DPS. Okay. What should I do after I get DPS gear? They're wondering. Okay, so once you have your DPS with a good set of gear that's outperforming your Bach gear or your lava gear, depending on where you're at as a player, once you have a good set of DPS gear, then at that moment you're going to want to go ahead and start farming Ascalon for your supports, and getting the gear on all of them. Okay, so that would be the follow-up. And Siegfried seems to be kind of a hybrid between the two. I saw some amazing stuff for PvP in Siegfried, but there's actually some really good DPS stuff and some really good support stuff in Siegfried. Siegfried, if you have the right team, can actually be the easiest of the three, frankly. But for most people and most meta comps that people have been building for World Boss and everything like that, Galgoria is going to likely be the easiest. It's certainly the fastest. You know, with Ascalon, you've got, you know, the 5 levels that you've got to progress through. Dispatches take forever on that. And there's a reason, because Ascalon has the best support gears by a mile. So, and there's actually some pretty crazy things I've been reading around in Reddit and Discord, and on the plug and everything like that, where people are actually building their DPS gears out of Ascalon gears that are buffing cooldown and things like that, and they're getting better results than they are with a set of Galgoria DPS gear. But that's a luck sack, you know, attempt right there. Like, you're gonna really have to be really lucky. So so that's pretty much the main questions that people were asking of me. And if you have any others, or if there's something I missed, you know, obviously you can leave it in the comment section. And I will talk to you guys soon. All right, have a good one.